back to Total Disclosure, brought to you by Pop Culture Corner Studios. Tonight, we have a wonderful show for you tonight. Unfortunately, Laureen Fenton, she was supposed to be on the channel, on the show this evening to discuss, her career and just disclosure in general. However, there was a scheduling issue, and we're swapping basically today and tomorrow. Tonight, we're going to discuss some of the things that have been happening in the UFO community. Obviously, we know the UAP report is coming due at any day now, but there is a lingering in the streets that it might be delayed. Also, some new testimony from a ufologist who had gone missing from Varginha. And, there was some chatter at the premiere in Brazil. So we'll get into that. Also, strange structures and objects in the Martian sky and terrain. This is not new. We've been seeing it since pictures of Mars first came out. UFO hunters and alien hunters have been scouring the NASA databases for years. But before we get into all that, guys, make sure to like, share, subscribe, join the channel if you can help support. Send a super chat. All that stuff goes back into production. Tonight, we're brought to you by Movie Palette. I got my Captain America Winter Soldier movie palette. So use Culture Corner 15 for 15% off your order. It's no one can tell that's a geeky thing. You could put that in your living room and bring the whole thing together. They come in multiple sizes. It's a great gift for your movie. Get a UFO. Get Independence Day. Get Don't Look Up. Get anything like that. That'd be cool. That'd be a cool one. I want them to do a special request for me, but they're the new sponsor. Link in the description below, guys. Also, TubeBuddy. Get the TubeBuddy. It's good for content creators. I don't have time for that one tonight. Tonight, I'm joined by the little Pop Tart as always. Listen.
Yes, sir.
What there's the UAP report is coming due, and UFO has been in the news quite a bit in just the past couple
Yeah.
weeks. Things have been
Right.
heating up. A lot of things
Yeah.
from pilots seeing shit in the sky, seeing stuff in the sky, I should say, to the report, all the way to that, and how certain senators and stuff are championing these causes. What do you think about just the overall gravitas that the topic is getting with things like the Galileo project? Take your preconceived notions out of it about who you support and who you don't support. I mean,
Yeah.
don't you like seeing it in the news?
Yeah. Of course. NASA just started their study on Monday, on the 24th.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
That's
yeah,
what
that's a huge one too.
we've talked about a
NASA.
bit. We've talked about that quite a bit. Um, so I'm still more optimistic about the NASA, whole task force, as opposed to the government's task force. I mean, the government's or the congressional, hearings, the UAP task force doesn't even take civilian, accounts into it. And that's one big thing about, at least NASA is doing, because civilian accounts are more extraterrestrial, than I would say the militaries that often see, what they call it, blue on blue, or I don't know what they call it, but where it's the military against the military, it's our, you know, reverse
Yeah.
engineering programs and etc.
Well,
Whether
I
it's
can't
Lockheed
speak on
Martin or,
those.
it's the
Uh,
hybrid programs that we know about, it's usually the most obvious, is the simplest answer is usually the right
yeah, I
one.
can't. I definitely can't speak on um, testing against our own military. I don't think it's a good territory to talk about, simply because the thought of it is not only um, destructive to our cause with destigmatizing and getting this out to the public, but it's very haunting to think that someone could test things against our own pilots. And I think that's something we can deal with once this is out in the open, and people are regularly talking about it. It's not being hidden anymore, right? So we have to pick our battles in this fight. And I'm telling you, abductions and shadow government testing those are not going to get us moved forward. So as much as I think they're important, I just don't think they're going to be the top the subtopics that propel this forward. the science, the discovery. So NASA getting involved finally after years of this really weird stonewalling about the subject, when it's like, you know, you are NASA. The you that's what you do. That's your
Yeah, they
fucking
should be telling us, like,
yeah.
w-
So, but
acting
that
dumb.
also kind of raises a different question. Now, if NASA had been covering this up for how many years, does this new task force that they put together, are they gonna, is it
Discover.
cross contamination in some way?
I think they will discover cross contamination in most areas. Government, NASA, vice versa. But the thing is that the cover up and the whole to where it's been run by these programs, these USAPs, they're so compartmentalized that we can't just blame NASA or blame the government and say that it's NASA or the government that's doing the cover up, because it's such a small percentage. Only 400 to 600 employees allegedly estimated have full access or any access at all, I guess, to these projects. But furthermore, so whenever some like NASA, whenever they start discovering this, they're just like us, just like me. I was in their shoes, although I never worked at NASA, obviously. But I was in the same place 2 years ago when the government first made, the announcement about UFOs and released the famous videos. That's when I started my research. But it did not take me long at all to come to learn these answers, and it wasn't
Right.
like it was still a mystery anymore. Especially with Stephen Greer, that just answered so many more questions about the whole subject and life, the universe, etc. But
Yeah. Speaking of people in the community, I just watched the Linda Moulton Howe episode of Theories of Everything. Oh
I feel
my,
sorry.
oh my God, was it? And I honestly, we gave flack to Kurt, and we gave
I feel
flack to him
sorry for
on his.
him.
I felt so bad for Kurt during that whole interview. She was talking down to him. She was rude.
What?
She listed her credentials 117
Oh
times.
my god!
She said the word
What
animal
a nut job!
mutilation. She said the word animal mutilation probably 6,000 times. And then at the end, she starts yelling at him, basically saying that he was unprofessional, that it was doing gotcha journalism, none of it was fair, all while avoiding very reasonable questions. So that just goes to show you that there are bad actors in the UFO community. This is known. There are people who just want to take your money. And honestly, sorry, Pop Tart, but many people think Greer is one of them. And that's just the fact.
Oh, I know they
That's the
think that.
perception. Yes. Now, Linda is quoted as saying multiple different things on whether she has tried CE5 or any form of human initiated contact. And she's very coy about her relationship with Greer and just Lou Elizondo and Tom DeLonge and To the Stars. So,
Really?
what do you think about this woman? I honestly think she is the biggest grifter in the community.
Yeah, I think that she is the. I don't think that necessarily she is a part of any conspiracy, so to speak. I think she's just a very gullible person, and that's how disinformation works. It sounds really believable. The government, we build these cars, Lamborghinis, these supercars, Bugattis, you know, um, etc. So imagine what we can do as far as secret technology. UFOs for the most part don't even have to look anything like a Lamborghini or anything cool or anything. It just has to be, an anti-gravity electromagnetic field propulsion device, free energy, whatever you want to call it. So the thing is, the government's had very sophisticated technology for a long time, and they're always, many steps ahead of us with everything. They have unlimited resources, blah, blah, blah. We know all this. So why would we not expect them to be several steps ahead on this subject and to be already be using the psychological warfare value of it, which obviously it has. Anybody with common sense will be like, okay, duh, yeah, it has that, especially if it's a secret, etc. It all makes sense. And that they would use that to their own advantage to scare people using fear as a way to control, which is what it's been the oldest trick in the book.
Right. She gets in. Gage is definitely right here when he says that she seems standoffish. When she was asked very basic questions that most people want to know about her, she got very defensive very, very quickly. In the fact that, in the sense that he would ask something and she would be like, she would list her credentials and then she'd say, then she'd talk about her documentary or her book or this or that or whatever. It was always like deflection, like clear cut, dry deflection. That's what it was. And honestly, I know you're tight with the Greermeister, but Linda does a very similar thing to Dr. Greer. She dominates a conversation. It's very hard to get a word in edgewise when you're talking to someone like that who's very proud of their beliefs and puts themselves forward like that. So, it was just a rocky interview. I think both of them were rocky interviews, but my perception on Kurt has changed drastically. His interviews always start really weird. I don't know if you noticed that or if it was anyone else. Is it just me or do his interviews start off like it's not like mine where I'm like, hey, welcome. This is what we're going to be doing, yada, yada. And then we get into it. It's like his start off with like silence and like, hey, okay, okay, we're live. It's just like, it's very fuck informal. That's the one
Awkward.
critique that I have. Very awkward. And then, the ending of this specific interview, she's taken the microphone off. She looks like Donald Trump leaving an interview early because he got offended.
What
It's
a
who,
badass.
by the way, this is the best comment I have ever read. She is
Yeah.
the Nancy Pelosi of ufology. This is the best comment of the year. I'll say that right now. That is so spot on that it's not even funny. It's, oh my God. She is literally, they look similar and they shake the same way when they talk. That's so funny. And they're always blabbing about shit you have no idea about, like animal mutilations, because they both sacrifice to the fucking Satan overlord, the fucking creepy bitches.
But
Jesus.
one thing that I wanted to say earlier to you about still about the Congress is they are actually interested in the crash retrieval programs, though. Once
Yeah, they've made
NASA
it
finds
very
out about stuff
clear.
like that, once NASA finds out about that, I feel like
They've made it very clear in language that is due to come out, or so in the NDAA, so the National Defense Authorization Act, that should be signed into actual law, should be on the president's desk, I would say by December. Um, it's already too late for it to happen before the election, so it's this is post-election, and that's what I'm worried about with the UAP report. Because if it doesn't come out soon, like if they try one of these 3-month delays, then it's not coming out till December again. So I'm worried about that. Hopefully, it's just a couple of days of a delay. But um, Leslie Keene, another person I don't support, but has done I suppose good things for the community. She had called a couple people like the guys from Project Unity, and she said that it's most likely going to be delayed and not turned in on time. There wasn't a time frame like a this much delay, but a delay is a delay. With the government, that could be fucking months or hours. So we won't know. But more on that as it develops. What do you think about? So what do you think about disclosure? There have been, I follow these accounts on Twitter, and people who talk about UFOs and stuff like that. Someone who makes some very big claims. People really don't like him, but there are other people who like him. He's always making shit like this. You know,
Never seen this guy before.
all
Never.
doubters can space out. Disclosure is happening Thursday, Friday.
What
I liked it.
the hell?
He's optimistic. I even invited him on tonight's panel. I was like, hey, you want to come talk about your theories? Because he's
Yeah,
always throwing wild shit out there. But listen, I hope disclosure comes, right? I think we all do.
of course.
Um, but we need to be realistic in the sense that, and the reason I bring this up is in that tweet specifically from Brian Johnson at Brian Joe 7894. Yeah, I got that right. Uh, the reason I bring that up is because disclosure is not going to be what everyone thinks it's going to be. It's not going to be this immediate, and this goes for the UAP report as well, and protections against clearances when speaking to Congress. These things are going. We're playing the long game, not the short game, and unfortunately, that doesn't work for a lot of people because they've waited long enough. Um, so this is a process, and it's going to happen in stages, and we need to be accepting of that fact because we're asking for a lot. We're asking for world changing, information. And whether we like it or not, they're not just going to hand it over willingly. So, we got to take it with what we got. Now, do you think NASA do you think there is a possibility that NASA has played a part in a larger cover up alongside and in cahoots with the US government?
Absolutely, bro. I think along this past century, there's been many players involved in this. It's not just one person. It's not. It's largely the government, yes, but we know now about private corporations also, NASA, possibly SpaceX, Lockheed. There's so many that um, can possibly be involved. Crash retrieval teams. Um, deal with
Yeah, keep
morticians,
keep talking.
etc.
I'm gonna I'm gonna
There's
grab my Gatorade.
there's a new episode of the Basement Files that just came out today, talking about Skinwalker Ranch and further exposing it. It's been a really like a 2 or 3 part series, Basement Files with Stephen Greenstreet and Nick Pope. Great YouTube series about UFOs and. Lately, he's been exposing people like Lou Elizondo and Robert Bigelow for many things, but one of them being Skinwalker Ranch.
Oof, I love Skinwalker Ranch talk. I'm
The
friends with
the
the security guard there.
the new episode today came out. I haven't seen it yet of the Basement Files, where Stephen Greenstreet's apparently staying the night there. Stayed the night there. It with like Brandon Fugel's permission. Brandon Fugel's apparently pissed about the whole situation because
Wait,
he got
what?
pretty much. Brandon Fugel's been working with the Basement Files with fucking Stephen Greenstreet and let him stay the night at the ranch, and he's been exposing this whole thing because apparently Brandon got scammed just like fucking Robert Bigelow did too. But except the difference is Brandon's actually admitting it, unlike fucking Playboy.
Right. Um, wait, I'm kind of confused.
Yeah.
Um, they
So the
think they got
Skinwalker is a
scammed.
Skinwalker Ranch is a fucking myth in itself. Like, yeah, there's a lot of unusual activity that does happen or has happened due to the Indian reservation that was there. But and even Greer's talked about that, and there has been activity there. But the amount of fake activity and disinformation and stuff that's gone through there, and the government's coming through, and all this, a lot of bullshit has happened
Are
within
you
there. A lot
basically
of
saying that Skinwalker Ranch is more of a
just a ranch.
more of a perpetuated story
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not the
than
one saying that. It's the New York Post, bro. It's Nick Pope and Stephen Greenstreet saying that. I'm just
but
telling you
but
what they're talking about.
but the Navajo and the unis had been talking about the Uintah Basin for centuries
but it's not.
before Skinwalker Ranch was ever. Skinwalker Ranch is just, and actually, you know what? This is a quote from Linda, and I do like how she said this. Skinwalker Ranch is more of a manageable target for the over. Maybe the ranch isn't as special, but
Yeah.
the phenomenon in that area is heavy. Whether it's something in the sky, but maybe the skinwalker shit's a little bit
Been
far fetched.
exaggerated and
Yeah.
far fetched to the maximum is apparently what we're saying, to where we've been straight lied to, where George Knapp wrote at least one book, lying, straight making lies and fake science fiction about a half beaver, half dinosaur. Literally, these crazy monsters. And the name of the new episode is called Skinwalker Ranch: Angels and Demons, Brandon Fugel and UFOs. So I'm excited to watch it
I've
tonight. I
been
know
trying
that.
to get Brandon to come on because now I am friends with
Yeah.
my first ever UFO guest was Caleb Bench, the Marine security guard in the show,
Oh yeah.
Skinwalker Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, and he has helped me bridge gaps with Travis Taylor, who is a fucking huge part of the guy's background speaks for itself. He's the one who writes the UAP report. That's how fucking you know in he is. Um,
I don't know how much I trust Travis Taylor personally, just due to
oh my god,
everything that's coming out at the moment. I haven't
dude,
seen the new episode,
you're gonna get
but
me to lose interviews with what you
I
say.
I I've I'm just saying I don't know if I trust him. Is all. That's it. He seems like a decent guy. I've watched his shows,
Travis is
obviously,
nothing
but
but open to. Actually, he was a hardcore skeptic for a long time.
and
So I've
that's all I'm being too. I know he got exposed for working for the government. That tells you right there that something is a little
well,
fishy.
yes, of
That's
course.
suspicious, bro. That's it.
Okay,
And
you know
I'm
what?
not being rude for saying that. I'm
No,
just
no,
being
no. You know what? I do agree. When you
they
have your hand in the pocket of entertainment and the government, listen, money, fame, and greed breed catastrophe. No doubt about it. In a lot of scenarios, that's what happens. But I don't think there cannot. I don't think there aren't people out there who are genuine, like who might contract with the government, but also do other things, right? Um, and they're genuinely interested in this for the right reasons. But of course, they're the bad actors and the people who want to exploit it and use it for this and weaponry and fucking this and that. There's always going to be that thing, but we have to. Sometimes our enemies have to. Friend of our friend is our. Or no, what? The friend of our enemy is our friend. Something like
yeah.
that. You know what I mean. So sometimes we just gotta. It's a means to an end. Now it's also a paycheck consistently. And when you work in TV and things like he does now, that's not always consistently getting paid, especially in off seasons when you're not a legitimate actor. You're on a science based show. They don't do like spin-offs and stuff. So I just again I agree though. I agree. When shit like that, when money gets involved, I do get nervous. But then again, you have to use that sentiment on Greer, on Linda Moulton Howe, on anyone who sold a book, made a movie, done a documentary show. You have to literally put that lens in front of all of them because at the end of the day, it's a money making machine. The UFO community.
It's not even about the money though, bro. The thing is that it's the government. Like we know that him having a job in the same exact subject as his job is with the government, and then not telling everybody on the show or anybody that he even worked with that
He couldn't.
he's the head of the government, the entire government's UFO task
He
force.
couldn't. That's the whole point. He couldn't. It's a clearance level issue. Now, as much as that sounds shitty, it's a reality. It sucks,
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But all I'm saying is it's very questionable, and
but
I
it
would
is a
like to talk to
conflict
him
of
also.
interest.
I would like to ask him this stuff. I wouldn't be rude, you know what I'm saying, to any of our guests. I would, even if I disagree or if I just want to ask how they feel, I'll talk to anybody. We have to have these conversations with everybody. I wish Lou Elizondo would come on the show with Stephen Greer and with Kanye and all these people. Like, we have to have
Maybe
these
one day we could
conversations
set that up. Maybe
whether
one day we
whether
could
we
be the
agree or
bridge.
not. And it's
Because
good that we are.
I like Lou Elizondo. You like Greer. And we can bridge that gap. Now, I do not believe everything Lou Elizondo says, nor do I necessarily agree with a threat narrative, but dandelions and flowers do not get money from Congress. Something that could be a threat, it will get money, and we need more scientific weapon. Not weapons of destruction, of war. Radars that are built to track enemies. All that stuff that we're getting from aircraft and fighter jets, those are all tools of war. We need tools of science
No, we
in
don't need the
those.
government, bro. The government has fucking lied to us about this whole thing. What makes you trust him now? Lou
I don't
Elizondo
trust anybody.
not even included, just the government. It's like we can't trust disclosure. We can't trust them with the Congress. I barely even trust NASA. But yes, it's interesting, and we will talk about all of it. But I'm just still so. It's like everything
Well,
that
it's
the
my
government
show,
says. It's
and
everything
I'll
that
fucking talk about it every single time.
the government
However,
says now is like you have to question it. It's like they've been caught in a lie. So now, how do we trust them with anything?
you're
I mean,
right. It's like a girlfriend who cheats, and then you can't get
yeah,
past it because
and
you cannot trust that person. I
and
do agree.
and even
But
with Travis Taylor, not saying something is the same as lying. You know what I'm saying? If
but
your girlfriend
until
cheats behind your back and not tells you, that's the same as lying. Basically, it's still fucked up and still wrong.
well, the military is, at the end of the day, they have the unlimited resources.
Hmm.
They have
The media,
not unlimited resources, but they have the highest of high resources, and they have means of actually making breakthroughs, whereas maybe civilians don't. So if we can come to some listen, shit has happened in the past. There's no doubt about it. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe they were wrong. Maybe we were both a little wrong in the way we treated each other. But that is not to say that we should look at it in a way, because all you guys, and this is what drives me nuts, is every single one who supports Greer, who supports that whole thing. You guys talk about a peace-based society, yet you conflict with these people. So if we cannot bridge a gap and come to a understanding, then we can never achieve what you want. So eventually, whether it's now or later, we're gonna have to come to terms with these people being a part of it, because not just one of us can do this. It has to be the human race. So that doesn't include just Greer and the followers of Greer, but that includes everybody. So we need to act that way. We cannot be biased in any way, because that is what discredits you. So and that's what I stay away from. And that's my whole apparatus morendum. I don't know if I just said that right. I might have made that up, that whole fucking word.
sure.
But that's what I mean. That's my whole point. Is
Well, still, even
but
the
does that
government
make
itself is
sense?
different. Yeah, bro. But at the end of the day, there's a whole separate government within our government that's been funneling trillions of dollars these past however many years, 80 years at the minimum. They've been
Well, we're
funneling
never gonna get that back.
illegally,
It's gone.
illegally. They're still doing it though, and they're still these programs still exist, and we don't know what all they are capable of. We've just barely
So
seen
and and
glimpses,
and and
and we
what's
can't
gonna
even always
happen?
identify. It's hard to identify them. Like,
So what's gonna happen?
I
What's
don't
gonna
know.
happen?
I don't
No,
even
no, no.
have.
I'm asking genuinely. What's gonna happen if we turn our backs on the government, stop involving them in this? They're still gonna fucking waste trillions of dollars, But
But that's
if
their
we can
problem. If money's not
infiltrate
worth
them,
something,
if we can infiltrate them with good, young, open-minded Congress people who will hold people accountable, that's what we need. We need the fucking Nancy Pelosi's out. The Crypt Keeper needs to go. Everybody in government over 60 needs to go. I hate to be fucking ageist, if that's even a thing. I'm sure it is. Ageist, discriminatory
okay,
against elders. That's not what I'm saying. But they cannot be in charge of our future anymore because they lived in a time that was radically different. If we brought the founding fathers to right now, they'd be like, you guys didn't write any new shit. You didn't update your laws. I wrote that. I didn't have electricity. You guys have fucking computers. Yes, that is a Joe Rogan joke, and I did use it. I will claim that. But it is so true. Like, yes, the government can be an ally. Somewhere along the lines, corruption took over, and we need to take it back. And that, my friend, is the answer.
okay. So let me
So,
ask you. Let me ask you though. Just with Congress passing any law, what law do you let me ask you, what would your ideal situation for disclosure be? Final and post disclosure.
so here's what disclosure in my opinion, is going to be. So they are that. Did you notice what's all right? Let me ask you a question. What's been in the news specifically? What's been in the news a lot lately in
Okay.
terms of NASA and just discovery?
Mars.
No, the James Webb Telescope. That thing is giving us pictures like we've never seen before. In my opinion, in my professional observation, I think the James Webb in combination with the Hubble telescope will make some sort of discovery.
Yeah,
That
you
that
might be
will
right.
be yep, that will be
Hey,
sent to the White House. The White House in conjunction with NASA, in conjunction with the UAP, whatever fucking office it will be at the time, because it's the name's about to change again. Whatever office, those three will make the announcement together that we're not alone. And then from there, you know, open court. That's, in my opinion, the most likely scenario as of today.
but then what? The president comes and says UFOs are real,
No, it
aliens are
wouldn't be
real.
the president. So that's the thing. It would
If
not be the president, but it would be the White House. So it would be a representative from the White House, um, the UAP task force, for lack of a better, or Arrow, or whatever it becomes, all domain anomaly resolution office. Remember that the leader of that and the NASA team, and then maybe a representative from NASA. They'll all they'll do a press conference, announce it. The president won't have anything to do with it, but thus the White House being involved will show the support, but it will not detract from the president's image per se.
the
Does that
support
make
of what
sense?
though? The
Because
support of what? Because what are we gonna what do you think the government's gonna do after they announce, like, whoever announces disclosure
well, because they're
after?
gonna what they're gonna do is they're gonna start. So once they make this announcement, you know, shit, we got it. Smoking gun, irrefutable, James Webb. Then we pointed the Hubble. Then we pointed everything, and we got it. We got smoking gun evidence for life, intelligent life, and UFOs are real. It's all real as far as UFOs. Then they're going to start it from that moment on. Then everything that happened in the past, they won't look at ever again. It will be from then on. And they'll try to sweep it all under the rug and say, look, we've been cooperative. They'll try to just distract you with what's new and flashy and hope you don't keep looking into what happened because of the excitement of them formally recognizing it. Now, the government's good at this, right? They show you this hand and not this one because this one's what's they don't want you to see. So they give you something new and distract you. So, in my opinion, that is the most likely scenario for many different reasons. Some variation of it, I'm sure, but expect that shit in the next year or two. I promise you.
Okay.
Hand over
So
my heart.
you might actually be right as far as I was saying the James Webb telescopes, because from what I read on Reddit the other day, there's apparently a report coming soon. I think it's classified right now, but concerning UAPs in space, like actually in space, they have
Right.
evidence of
Well, that's
UAPs.
one of our topics tonight is the Mars pictures. So we'll get into that right after this. So finish your
But
statement.
that was pretty much it. My the rest of it was I was going to ask you what, as far as the civilians though, not even the government, but what do you expect the civilians, not how they'll react, whether they'll be happy or not, but what do you suggest that humanity does to move forward from that point? Not just the government, but just regular folks like us. What
Can
should
you
we do?
repeat that? I
What should folks like us do? People like us, once disclosure happens, whether the government does their thing or whatever, Space Force, whatever they choose to do after they announce it. I don't know. But
like
what do you
what
think's
are we gonna do as a podcast? Like, or what is we
no,
gonna do as
not me and
ufologists?
you, not me and you, but the rest
People
of
as
the
a whole,
population. Yeah,
like
humanity.
how they're gonna act.
Not how they will react, but what they should do. What's the next move?
Well,
What's the
okay,
next
what's
step?
the next
How
move?
to make contact, to do what?
They need to remain calm. That is the first and foremost, most important thing. To remain calm. then,
Of course.
then do your research, look into it, and see that this is not new. That we've been dealing with this for a long time. We were on not a human timeline, but we were on the timeline of something else. We are part of something bigger. It doesn't make us smaller because many people are going to feel small when they find out that there's something more intelligent than us. They're going to feel small. They're going to feel insignificant. It's going to challenge a lot of their beliefs. And most religious people are going to have the hardest time. But the Pope is even coming out and he's easing those tensions already. Something is in the works. I promise you this. These things don't just all fucking happen for no reason. I don't believe in coincidences on this large of a scale. The dominoes are falling and they are getting people softened up to the fact that this shit is happening and they can't hide it anymore. Too many people have too far good equipment that if it's called getting ahead of it. If they don't do it now, it's going to be done to them later. And that is when people will start looking into Roswell further, deeply. Then they'll start poking and prodding. If it's forced upon them, it's it's going to be open warfare against the US government. And they cannot have that. So the better option that they have as of now is to get ahead of this. Do it themselves, do it the right way. That's why all of this shit's happening. It's not because they have our best interest in mind. It's because they have their best interest in mind. Don't get it twisted.
For sure.
People need to realize that this thing that's out there, they are not the threat. They are not the problem. If you're really brave enough, or if you're not brave, maybe not brave is the word, if you want to try to make human initiated contact, that human initiated contact predates Dr. Greer. Dr. Greer
Oh, yeah.
kind of perfected it with the art of meditation, including consciousness, and did all that kind of stuff. If you want to try that kind of stuff, by all means, once disclosure happens, I think the veil is going to be the thinnest. So you'll be able to fluently make contact, probably have them drop in front of you and talk and communicate in some form, because then the secret's out. They don't need to hide anymore. But we need to be careful because there's one hidden thing that we need to watch out for, and it's racism against these beings. We have a hard enough time accepting each other. So something that looks a little off, we need to prepare ourselves for radical changes in a very short period of time. And it can be uncomfortable, but it's something that we need to do. That's what I think people need to do.
Yeah. And realistically, if you look at any subject in the world, there's always going to be the other side of the fence that disagrees in any, especially political instance. So we already know that once any sort of disclosure happens, even more than it's already happened, once a real full disclosure happens, total disclosure, then
Hey!
there's obviously gonna be people that disagree and say are gonna be racist, and that's just how humans. That's one of the main biggest flaws in humanity to this day, is racism, tribalism, and using religion as an excuse for a lot of evil things.
But yeah, we need to be very careful about the whole demon UFO correlation. Unknown Sender says angels, demons, nothing new. Channeling aliens, lol. So I I don't know where he's going with that, but the one thing I will say is I think that this whole idea of the paranormal being connected to UFOs is something I'm really passionate about. As of right now, that's what my documentary is going to be focused on. Um, and I think the paranormal, there's a potential that it is something more along the lines of what we're seeing in a different dimension, echoes, if you will, from a different dimension. People see their mothers. So in their own house. Well, you have to think, there'll be parts of your life that would be very similar. So you might live in the same house. Your mother might still be alive in that dimension. And you just happen to see an echo of that dimension because people, when they're grieving or when they're overly happy, when you're euphoric, in up or down, whether it's the worst of the worst or the best of the best, there are theories that the veil is thinnest. You're connected because you're not thinking, you're feeling for once. You know, that for that feeling of a new love, you're feeling.
Yeah.
That's why it's so good.
So
But that's why losing someone so close hurts so much, because for once you're not thinking, you're feeling it, and then you're in tune with your surroundings. And that's why they say you see that kind of stuff, because you've enhanced your being with the universe around you. And I think it's a very, very compelling theory.
yeah, and whenever you look at it from a scientific, point, that's different than 99.9% of the shows and movies on TV, which are obviously faked and exaggerated greatly to you know get more viewers and whatnot. But yeah, looking into the truth and the scientific, not even scientific, because a lot of this stuff you can't even be scientific about. It breaks our laws of physics and all of our known understanding of fucking reality. You know what I'm saying? So we can't just expect to use our rules of life, whatever, in
Right.
a different dimension or etc. Even ETs.
Yeah.
There's a spiritual world for sure, and there's somewhere we go when we die. There's somewhere we were before this. Um, and yeah, that's
We've talked
definitely
about this
real.
before, right?
I'm
About
not
what
sure.
what our beliefs are in that
You've heard of ESP, extra sensory perception,
perception. Yeah.
and the governments study that too. Just like with remote viewing, they used to have remote viewers spy on fucking Russia or whoever. So
Right.
all that stuff is connected to our consciousness. Um, and same with CE5, and same with the ETs. So many things are connected, and once you do learn CE5, you learn how much of the universe really is connected, how much makes sense in everything. But yeah, I feel what you mean as far as paranormal. I don't think it should be something scary. Like sometimes, like why did anything about death or spirit world become scary in the first place. Like obviously there can be lower
Well, it's
dimensional.
because the church wanted to scare people.
That's most
It-
likely. You know, it's a form of control, obviously. Fear.
yeah, because the devil and the punishment, and you're
Yeah.
gonna go to hell if you. And religion started pure enough because it gave people something to strive for, it to be a better human. You know, the
But
laws of
but
the
man
that
got a
stuff.
hold of it though. Man got a hold of it and twisted it
And
and
that's my issue. The
perverted it.
Bible was written by a guy, right?
Yeah.
Just some guy,
All of it.
three, and it was written like 6 people ago. What
Yeah.
the fuck? No, I'm good. I'm good. Like
Yeah. It's like
I
the telephone game.
right. Yeah, yeah, very much like that. And that's what I mean. That could pertain to Skinwalker Ranch as well, right? The stories just got more elaborate as time passed on, and by the stories being told over and over, you know, they're a little bit more elaborate, a little bit more, out there.
So
But let's get into the first topic because we just spent
all right.
48
Yep. Let's
minutes
go.
bantering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Let's get it.
we'll be right the back. So a new photo from the Mars, I think it's the rover or the probe. I'm not sure which one, but there were a couple of images that show what appears to be something in the Martian sky in one frame, and then it's gone in the next frame. Now, listen, if I'm looking at that thing, that could be a speck of dust on the camera, or it could be it could be everything or it could be nothing, right? That's in reality that's what this is. But I think this leads us to a bigger topic, and what I really find fascinating. First, I want to get your thoughts on this because it does look like the classic kind of,
Well,
cylindrical cigar UFO with like some energy energy, uh, uh, you know, pulsating from within it,
yeah.
and shielding around it. Um, what do you think about it?
I mean, the fact I don't doubt it. Obviously, you know, whenever you look at anything um, that's similar to what you saw with your own eyes, it's hard to discredit that or even look for reasons to discredit it. It's like why would I even want to? I mean, I do go through the obvious. You know, it could be this, that, blah, 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 but you have to give the benefit of the doubt after you've had contact, especially. You know, us in the UFO field, we should always give the benefit of the doubt a little bit, still remain skeptical. But whenever stuff like that looks really similar to the silver disc my kid contacted above my house. And the fact it's on Mars, I don't see that being a smudge on the lens or, you know, something like, I don't find that probable. Like,
Really?
it
Well, I
looks
do want
like
to
what it looks
watch.
like. The simplest answer is usually the right one. I mean,
Right. But there's just with cameras, there can be a lot of trickery with the lenses. I'm a professional when it comes to cameras. Trust me. I with lens flares, and dude, I literally made a
I
video
believe you.
about, yeah, so about of how I can literally fake a UFO very easily. I can fake it just by a little bit of refraction of light off of a light post. I don't even need the light post to be in the frame for me to be able to get the refraction of it. Therefore, I could literally deceive people by the light not even being in the frame, right?
Yeah.
And then I can move this refraction around the screen, controlling it, as long as I have a steady hand. So, and then little things do get on the lens, and it's a nightmare because there's just this little speck that you're auto focusing in on. It's terrible. But that also brings up another thing is the image, but they use different types of cameras. They use very, very, their frame rate is very, very,
Pixelated.
no, it's the frame rate.
Oh, it's good.
So how quick the shutter speed, what, how many frames per second it's grabbing,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So, they have it at a low setting so that it grabs like a time, lapse. And they can put that together and get a larger picture. Um, and it's a good idea when you're dealing with cameras. That's the ones like NASA uses in space, like out in space. That's why they're always so like, you know, old school looking back in the day, because they were using like very, very basic technology, because you couldn't bring certain things into space. They would fry. So anyway, the, uh, the there's been lots of videos made on it. I just picked the first one I saw, but it, I can't really explain too much of the structure aspect of Mars, but there are some cool like features that have been featured on Mars. Now there are certain things that do not form in nature. Right angles are one of them. Pyramids on Mars,
Damn.
like could there have been a civilization that lived on Mars? You got to think. There's this big fucking scar on Mars. There's an asteroid belt that separates Mars and Jupiter. Could a planet have exploded there and hit Mars with fucking bombarded it with rock? And that's what caused that scarring? And
Sure.
could that have wiped out all life on, or could they have left Mars and come to Earth for sanctuary and left their
It's
planet behind? These
it's
are all
possible.
real fucking
Sure.
possibilities. People say they see buried structures like pictographs. They see all these things in these pictures that NASA will not explain. So we're gonna watch a video. Shout out to Daily UFO Sightings, or UFO Sightings Daily. I'm sorry. We're gonna watch your video. Can you hear it?
No.
I found it again, and I want to update the post because the video in that post has been deleted. I wanted to. Hello, everyone. My name is Gus Ewaren of UFO Sightings Daily.com. For a while, update the post because to update it and show you the exact location of this object. It is a
Wait,
very massive object. There is
I
the
don't want to
coordinates
watch
up
this.
here, and the object is pretty cool. It's very long, very massive in scale. If you go directly below, hey, where'd the crater go? Oh, okay, so I can't see it. Go to this area, Pavanis Solusi, and go above it, you'll find it. But just hit the coordinates, copy paste the coordinates in, and you'll find it instantly within seconds. And it looks like a massive building, a very, very large structure. I just want to make this video, like I said, because it was deleted before, and a lot of people have been asking me about this structure. It is pretty amazing. It is really unique. It's very thin on this part, and the sides are equal. This side is equal to this side, and this area
This is a
almost looks like
weird
the
little
front
structure.
of a ship, and this looks like the back of a ship.
There's monoliths on the moon of Mars.
Let's see
The
if
astronaut,
Google
I
Ruler
forget,
gives us
maybe Buzz
the
Aldrin talked about it.
approximation of how long this object is. I would guess it ends right about here because of the shadows. Okay, 1,900 meters
Could that be a
or
crater?
kilometers,
Just an
1.9
elongated crater, though?
kilometers or miles,
No, it looks like it's standing up,
1.23
right?
miles across. That is
I
a
don't
structure.
know.
That is one massive structure. Okay, let's do across the width here. Okay, so it's about zero 0.4 of a mile. Over here at the thinnest part, it's about, okay, 0.26 of a mile. Over here at the head, at the widest part, it's about 0.33. All right, let's clear that, get rid of that. But I just want to make an update, show you that it does exist. It's still out there on Google Earth. It hasn't been deleted. A lot of people are saying it's been deleted. It's not. It's still there. But it's a very, very unique object, very unique structure that really doesn't belong. Look at everything around here. This does not belong here.
Wow, that's
This
so
is
true, though.
really, really odd. It looks like from the outline all the way around that this has landed here. It is sitting on top of it. It's not part of the scenery. It does look like it's covered with dust after a millennium of sitting there or so, but quite unique. And check it out if you get the time. Here is the Google coordinates. Also in the about section, copy paste the coordinates. You'll find it. My name's Scott C. Waring of UFO Sightings Daily. If you get the chance, check us out. And
Shout out to that was actually pretty cool because I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
That was a cool little feature. I didn't seen that before because there's a lot of there's like the doorway. Have you seen the doorway one?
I saw a picture, I think, of it. Maybe.
That one's kind of crazy. But there's been some, prosaic explanations. Also, I don't know if you guys know, but Avi Loeb had just come out and said that there's a bunch of prosaic explanations for the Ukraine UFOs. He wrote a peer review paper, which he's okay if he's wrong, but he presents some really good data for it. So they're most likely artillery shells, which it sucks, but we do have to rule certain things out. Like we
Yeah.
need to be able to wean out the bad stories so we
You
can
you can't say every UFO sighting.
yeah, exactly. We know that like
Yeah,
80% of it's
absolutely. You have
bullshit.
to tell the difference.
Yeah. So
But
it,
at the
it
same
was
time, you
the
can't
it
say
was most likely it was either misidentification, which makes me skeptical to think it was that, or it was propaganda
you
to
don't
make yeah.
you don't think that the ETs would be interested though in the basically the only war going on even on Earth.
I do think they're interested.
They're
I think
interested in
they're
every war, even.
I think there has been a few real ones, but I don't think that they're flying over every day.
I
That
don't
would be
know.
mundane.
I can't speak, really. I can only speculate unless it's something I've seen 100% with my eyes, and what Greer's told me I have seen 100% with my eyes. So I can speak confidently about all the sightings and stuff that I've had and how they work and stuff. But if I've seen that, I can only assume people around the whole world see it subconsciously or consciously, whether they're trying to do C5 or they just happen to have a random sighting. They exist and I've seen them. So obviously other people are going to have the same, experiences.
Yeah, I you know, I think I think Greer I think Greer is 20 years ago what he did was just amazing. It really was.
I don't know what he did 20 years ago. I've only known him for the past, 2 years or whatever, year, basically, year and a half, 2 years.
Right.
And he's changed
Um
my life, like, for the better. So,
Yeah, and I think anyone who can have that effect on someone and bring them into the community like this,
sure.
it's just amazing. So you know the fact that he's brought so many people into the community, I think that cannot go unnoticed. Um, but I don't think that I can't subscribe to everything that he says. I can't do it because I just there's a lot of it that seems like I was telling you earlier, it's a lot of conflict from a guy who wants nothing but the human race to get along. Um, and I get it. I get the root of the conflict. But again, eventually we're gonna have to come to some agreement. And whether that's after disclosure or not, it needs to happen. Um, I want to ask you a couple questions though.
All right, shoot.
What do you think about timeline manipulation and changing the past? Could this be what the Mandela effect is? Instinct, one mind, one being, reliving their lives over and over. But how, that's a multi-layered question, but let's start with time manipulation and changing the past. Could ET
Okay, so
beings change the past?
I believe that they most likely can. I think that they do have the ability to time travel. My only guess though is that they're probably not supposed to interfere. If the butterfly effect is real at all, then they are probably not supposed to be visible at all. And also, I we know that from Rendlesham that they have interacted, but it was something to warn. You know what I'm saying? They had to. Otherwise, they knew from the future that we were going to go to shit. That's why they came to Rendlesham, to warn us about what we're doing still. So I think that time travel is real. Like I said, I had that experience on acid where the Beatles told me it was real, but now and I never understood what that meant this whole time. But now, studying this subject, it started to make sense. And the main thing that Greer talks about, and his main intentions is not even UFOs or big bad government or any of that. His main goal is to bring everybody together for world universal peace and for spirituality and meditation and love and peace. It's not that, oh, he can never be wrong, and if he is wrong then he's a liar. He's human like all of us, and he's doing his best, just like most of us are doing. And
Oh
except
yeah, yeah, no doubt about it.
he's just lucky that he came across something that is super important to not just humanity but the universe. But it is important specifically to humanity in this instance because he's the human that brought it to our forefront, at least to mine and many others. He's not the creator of contact. He didn't create UFOs or aliens or even contact, nothing. He just created the app, CE5 app, and yeah, it costs $10, and yeah, it's fucking if you want to hang out with him for a week in the desert and have him teach you fucking hands on how to make contact with aliens, he's gonna charge you a few $1,000s. Sorry, but that's how the fuck it is. I wouldn't do it for fucking $10,000 because it would be a pain in the ass, especially dealing with people, especially in UFO community and stuff. How people can be, but he does
Yeah.
it, and his goal is always not to divide, which is what politics is. That's all politics does. We're all the human race, and that's all he's trying to do is bring the world together. He's not about negativity and and if I listened to him more, I would be a way better person too. I don't take his advice really. I'm supposed to be meditating. I haven't had contact since almost a year ago, since December. So I don't take his advice nearly as I should. I need to be more spiritual and meditate, etc. Because even if I didn't have anything to do with ETs and UFOs, that right there connects you with the universe entirely. And it is connected with CE5 and with ETs and UFOs. Um, except that's just the one thing I knew I was always what's the word for it? Not a spiritual person, but a materialistic person. So the first
Yes.
thing I was asking when I started making successful contact, I said, I want to see your best technology. I said specifically, I want your technology. I want to see your technology. That's why I got into the whole UFO shit in the first place when the TikTok videos dropped. I said, wow, that's probably not aliens, but I'm interested in the technology. So that's why I started my research.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
So
and that's the
still to this
thing.
day, I love the technology aspect of it, but the spirituality is what's important. That's the main thing, the spirituality side, not the technology and the, even the biology of it necessarily. It's the spirituality. And yeah, don't, you know, go too far with anything, I would say. You always want to have a balance in your life. But
Right.
this is something that is positive as far as, as far as I can tell.
Right.
And it's helped me
Now,
individually, personally, a great amount.
right. So back to the question at hand. So could this
Yeah,
be what the
sorry I get off
Mandela
topic.
no, that's not what I meant. Could this be what the Mandela effect is? So where some people remember, like the Berenstein Bears versus the Bernstein Bears, or they remember
Yeah,
Mandela dying in
alternate
jail.
realities. I think that now that we know many of these ETs are from other dimensions, that the idea of alternate realities of different version of us is very likely, if not, it's almost impossible for it not to be possible, right? To where there's a possible infinite amount of dimensions and a possible infinite amount of planets in each dimension. So, and each dimension could be a little bit different, drastically different. We don't know, but it could be all the above. I think that every possibility, if anything is possible, then it exists in one dimension or another, and that you know once you reach that technological level that you can travel through dimensions, just like they can travel to planets and, possibly through time. But the Mandela effect, I'm not sure. I can't speak. My guess is that no, that Mandela effect is most likely just some sort of confusion. But it is very interesting, and I don't know if they do, if anybody does change the past. Um, that is very bizarre that they would change it to where we're living in this present now, to where it's not much of a, it's not that great, so to speak, right? We're not at some place of world peace or great prosperity. So if they did do anything, it wasn't to our benefit, I would say.
Well, what
Changing the
if
Berenstein
what? Well,
Bears would
no,
not be what
not
I would do if I had a time
that's
machine.
not. No, 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 no.
So
So no, that would be an effect caused by what they
I
did.
know,
So what if Hitler actually won the war by advancements in things like the Nazi bell, right? Things because he was very ahead of his time when it came to the occult
yeah,
and looking into all this shit. So what if there was the original timeline where Hitler actually succeeded and he was on the brink of it? They go back, change it, and then all of a sudden they come back and yeah, we won the war, but we had to do it by
yeah.
other
So
means, and then there was all these other effects. And
yeah,
yes, it was for the greater good, but they did not want a guy like that having control of the technology of their
right.
civilizations. So, due to it being their technology, they had to fix it. And again, I know that sounds far fetched, but I mean, you just never fucking know, because
Yeah,
the whole Nazi bell is a fucking another mystery in itself. It not only disappeared, but we know it was being worked on. There's many documents supporting it, and there's many things, testimony supporting that there was this look that they did the Antarctic expedition, and that's what another thing I wanted to talk about, because there is a rumored alien base in the Antarctic. Hitler did an expedition to the Arctic, and then the United States after did their own expedition called
so
Operation High
let's
Jump. You're breaking up, bro. Your internet connection. Are you at Target internet? Are you on the Starbucks internet
so
tonight?
I yes. I think no, I think it was yours. I thought it was yours.
Uh,
I
no,
was about
dude.
to tell you. But
No.
what if time
So
travel we are allowed to interact and to interfere? What if it's not the butterfly effect and we can make positive, if what people say is true as far as time is not what we think it is, bro. People that trip large amounts of psychedelics, people that meditate, et cetera, always say that time is actually, it's either linear or not linear, whatever it is we think it is, it's not. And that whatever,
well,
if
no, no,
time
no.
is linear, so to
Time
speak,
is not linear. It's not a straight line. It's
then we
it's
if,
waves. See, yeah, can
I don't know
you
why you're cutting up.
no, dude, I am not cutting up. I have a state of the art setup. I'm watching you on my TV, which you're also cutting up on. So remove yourself. This is what usually works.
So
Remove yourself from the show. Like refresh the page and come back in.
okay,
Anyone in the audience, can you just
okay.
confirm that it is Pop Tart and not myself that is lagging? Because again, I know it's not me, but I think he just needs the confirmation. He's got he's on that Target internet again. But one of the things I find very interesting is, and he did bring it up, which I was very excited about, is the knowledge or the thought that time is a human construct. It is not something that naturally it's not like mathematics, where mathematics is often considered the universe of the language. I mean, the language of the universe, whereas time is a human construct. Like 11 o'clock p.m. is not a legitimate thing that is in the universe. It's just what we've labeled as you know, it's our days, and you know, we set a number to that day in that specific moment of each day. It's very it's needed in our society because people need to go to work and they can't just be like, well, the sun's in this spot. Like, we can't do that. That's not how we society could work properly. So the fact that time was created the way it is for us was capturing how, you know, how long each day was, and you know, it just assigned a numeric value to it, but it's not a it's a very weird system. But time does not work like that. Time is waves, and it can be manipulated with the certain conditions. We've proved this many times, and unfortunately, you know, we're pretty far behind in that area. But I'm sure there's civilizations out there can that have full mastery over the physical world, like absolutely full mastery of it. That would be a level like a level 4 civilization.
And you know, Gary Nolan said that our DNA is possibly 9 billion years old. If we've only got, records of however many thousand years it goes back, human history, then what was before that? Because obviously Earth was here billions of years, before us. What did humans do wrong? And have some ETs, advanced beings of any sort, already been altering with our timeline anytime that we've been close to a apocalyptic event like Hitler or anything like that? Have they already gone and interfered, and we just keep fucking up so bad that even now they might have to do another restart or another interference, but they do it covertly so that we really don't notice at all. And we know that they can be invisible, even UFOs, ETs, basic ETs, have invisibility cloaks. Even our stealth fighters have fucking cloaking technologies and shit. So
Right. And cloaking you know, okay, our stealth fighters at the moment have a very, very basic version of a cloaking where it basically it
radar.
yeah, well, cloaking, stealth is different. So stealth is basically the shape of the plane and the aerodynamics that allow it to escape detection by a radar, right? The way the light hits it, all that stuff comes into play. Now, cloaking can be done to a certain degree where they basically change the the something about it's very, very complicated. I am not a scientist. I cannot accurately tell you about this. But if you look it up on YouTube and stuff, there are companies that have designed things where you can like put it in front of you and see through. And it basically distorts the light and the way the light, like kind of like a prism effect, but in like a whole different kind of way. So there are those kind of technologies that are being created and implicated, but not to a degree where it would, you know, radically give us an advantage yet. But you know, obsidian. Do you guys believe in obsidian? Now, obsidian is something that's very, very unique. Obsidian. That's another Linda Moulton Howe thing, actually.
I
She
don't know.
claims that the obsidian piece that she has is so unique, and it was pulled off of the craft from Roswell, or the craft that was held in S4, which is mostly assumed to be one of the Roswell crash ships. So that's what she claims. Now, other people have said this is utter bullshit, but that was one of the parts in the interview where she got so defensive, so defensive.
Oh my
Um, what do you think about Obsidian?
bro, this is literally the first I've heard about obsidian. I don't watch Linda Moulton Howe.
Well, and she's not the
She's not
by
the
she
what
is
sort?
not the perpetuator of Obsidian.
Explain it a little
Remote
better for me.
remote viewers have been using Obsidian Rock to help them
Hmm,
um remote view. Like
like
that's what Obsidian is known for, is
huh,
remote viewing um and
a,
like
cr- a
like
crystal.
crystal ball type shit.
Hmm.
But it's Obsidian.
I've seen one of those spears where they call it like a alien spear, and it's just like a big rock that apparently it wasn't Linda Moulton Howe that had it, but apparently there was like evidence of it like 100 years ago or something, and then someone recently just found it and it was on TikTok. And apparently you just set the ball on the ground and it's like got some electromagnetic field inside of it or something. And you do something, I forget, it just like rolls around by itself or some shit. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
I saw it.
I have
Yeah,
no
I saw
idea.
it.
I'm not a scientist or anything, like
Yeah,
that.
again, maybe we should put a disclaimer up before the show that neither Pop Todd and or I, we both have media backgrounds, not scientific backgrounds.
Yeah.
So again, we're complete morons when it
Social
comes to
perspectives. This is our like social perspective on the issues and on the
right.
subject.
And I'm very smart when it comes to like that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
I can portray what I'm saying, but when it comes to like technical shit, physics and all that stuff, I am not the guy. I
Yeah.
am not the guy.
Me neither.
And
That's not the show though. That's more theories of everything type, shows where they're into the
right.
physics specifically, and that's good. It's good to have a niche in,
Yeah, we
like
need those people. Our
my
niche is everything.
yeah, and what's even more niche, I guess I don't even know that word, is my fascination. I'm a huge Elvis fan, but I'm a huge U, UFO fan also, and I love ufology. But my interest in the past couple months has been Elvis's interest in UFOs, and if he actually did have any UFO sightings himself. Um, Apparently, the night he was born, his father had a UFO sighting above their shack he was being born in of a blue orb, and he had several throughout his life. Even after his death, there's been UFO sightings above his grave, up close to 20 feet above his grave at Graceland. I just want to read this one little paragraph. It's really short from the book I've read so far. And this guy that wrote the book is the
Hold on,
most.
hold on. I gotta recognize this. Dr. Bob Humphrey says he quoted me as saying, "Our niche is everything."
Right.
100% absolute savages. I love that. You just took best comment of the night, my friend. Uh, we're gonna start doing some giveaways of shirts and shit like that. But guys, we're not. When I was doing the movie version of the podcast, we'd be getting tons of members and tons of super chats and stuff like that. And when I changed the channel and turned myself, I like who's gonna be Superman isn't as interesting to me right now as this story is the biggest story that
Yeah.
is in human history. So I'm gonna start doing movie content again, but it's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
Um, I want this show to be the main focus. So until we start getting more members and stuff like that, I'm sorry. I can't invest more money yet. I spend lots of money. I've spent a lot, as you can tell. I spent a lot of money on this show
Oh
in
yeah, for
general.
sure. I
And I'm just at my limit for now.
Yeah, it's good to have other stuff too, bro. I'm still planning on making clothes and whatnot. But sorry, my iPad died. What I was saying though is that my from what I read in that paragraph, Elvis was really big into spirituality, which he was actually right about. That's what C5 and everything's all about, meditation, and always looking for these answers and stuff. He never. I wish today that he was alive so I could teach him about C5 as well as Kanye, because that's exactly what he was looking for his entire life. And reading this book, I got to know the real Elvis from his spiritual advisor and best friend, Larry Geller, and it's talking about his search, his whole life was searching for these answers of spirituality of the universe, etc. And at one point, he told Larry the story. Um, he was reading a book from the Bible about Ezekiel, and apparently Ezekiel had some sort of sighting, and Elvis concluded that it was a sighting of unidentified flying objects. So that right there proves 100% that Elvis believed in UFOs, even if UFOs aren't real, they didn't exist. Even if, say, Ezekiel didn't really see a UFO, Elvis believed that he did. So Elvis did believe in UFOs 100%. And I'm interested to read the rest of this book to see, to read about the sightings he actually had.
Dude, that's awesome. And
Yep.
and and Elvis was an extremely influential person.
Yeah.
So the fact that his dad had a UFO sighting that night could be that they were there, because
Yep.
they back to this whole time thing. Like Elvis
Exactly.
was that influential that there are certain people that I think are brought
Yeah.
that are looked after
They
their
were
whole
observing him for sure. They were
they're
observing
looked
him.
after their whole lives because they need to do something great and they will do something great and
Yep.
and and it needs to happen, and I think there are someone looking out for us at all times, and I hope they are. I really do.
And if I had a time machine, that is the first place I would go, is to watch Elvis perform. But that's the thing though, is that
Hold
he
up.
oh,
Hold up. If you had a time, okay, if you had one place to go, you'd go
yeah,
to Elvis.
absolutely 100%. I've already seen UFOs flying silver disc
You
with my
wouldn't
own
want to go
eyes.
see dinosaurs.
No. Hell no. Fucking dinosaurs didn't fucking,
You
see
wouldn't want to
jailhouse
go
rock.
see if
Fucking
Jesus was real.
I would rather see Elvis than
You
Jesus.
wouldn't want to go see the beginning of life.
I look at Elvis more.
God, you have such a weird
Inspirational. I'm
scope.
more inspired by Elvis than Jesus Christ, bro. And
He's a
that's
fucking person.
so was Jesus. Jesus' real name wasn't even Christ, and that's
No. I did not say go fucking
his
see
last name. His
Jesus.
last name
I
wasn't
said,
wasn't
I
actually Christ
said,
though.
go see if Jesus was real.
I believe he was. Yeah, I believe he was a real human, and I think
But
that
we know Elvis was, and we know Elvis was Elvis, and you can watch Elvis on fucking tape and recording. There's nothing to Jesus. You would, if you had one place to go, you go watch.
hey,
I mean, hey, I'm not gonna
yeah,
knock it. I'm not
that's
gonna
my
knock
niche
it.
though. That's what I'm saying though. Like Elvis is my other niche besides UFOs, so that's why it's an even bigger niche. Elvis's interest in UFOs is even more hard to find fucking information about, especially anything reliable. I also bought Elvis the Elvis UFO Connection book, and that's just a bunch of fucking bullshit. It says nonfiction, but it's a bunch of bullshit about abductions and Elvis was abducted, blah blah blah. This book here is the closest, the most credible person to Elvis that there is possible. So that's why I got both of them, because I wanted to, even see the difference.
I get it. I get it. So our next and semi last topic of the night is the Varginha thing. Now I don't have a graphic necessarily for this, but can you send me that article you sent me?
Yeah,
Um,
but my iPad just died, so I can't at the moment. But
do you remember where you sent it to me? Was it
yeah,
Instagram?
I texted to you. I texted to you.
Okay.
But
Can you give me a talk for a sec about this in the Virginia case while I find it?
yeah, so you want me to talk about what I sent you?
Yeah. Give it a brief overview.
So basically, we all know about the James Fox Moment of Contact documentary that just recently was released, and how big of a story this is, how bombshell testimony the whole case is, and which I believe to be 100%, true, by the way. So apparently now in Brazil, more witnesses are coming out since the release of the movie, and one of them claims to have seen 32 seconds of the actual ET. I think at the hospital, maybe, but it was clearly struggling. They tried to feed it an apple in the video, but it refused, and it wouldn't communicate. It wouldn't talk. Um,
Because it was
I,
fucking pissed.
it was
It was like,
scared.
you
It was scared
motherfuckers
too.
are taking me hostage.
Yeah, it was terrified. I'm sure, like to its maximum. I mean, it's just like, can you imagine doing that? Whether you, no matter how advanced you are, going to especially a
Yeah,
more
you just
primitive,
crashed
it's
and
a
then
risk. That's the
yeah,
risk that they take. Is that
you just fucking crashed. you're having the worst day of your life, and you've lived a long fucking time, most likely.
And
So
it's
this
worse than
being,
prison. They treat you
yeah,
worse than prison if you're
and
captured.
then and then from what it sounded like, the sun hurt this thing. Like our sun was really bright or really young, and it was affecting this thing. Not that it was going to die from it, but it was definitely like more brutal to that
Yeah.
being.
Well,
Um,
they probably
and
wear the black tight suits because of that, possibly.
yeah,
Many are
so
described wearing helmets, head
yeah, so
apparatuses.
so this thing was just fucking fucked. He's like, this is the worst. Like, I'm on a foreign planet that I probably shouldn't be on, you know, for longer than a couple seconds
Yeah.
visible at a time. And I just crashed. And now I'm running through a fucking town. And and then I get picked up by the military. Like, that is the worst day for
Yeah.
an alien I can imagine. So you sent it to me on Twitter. Not
Oh,
So
really?
here it is. Yeah, it's a thread. So I'm going to show this thread. So I will read through it, but we can all read along together. This is breaking news about the Varginha incident. After 26 years, oh shit, 1 second. I lost my I want to change this because I want to bring it up full screen. Okay. After 26 years in silence, researcher Vittorio Paccaccini, I am sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, Paccaccini gave some explosive details about the Varginha beings during a moment of contact premiere hosted by Marco O. 58741651. God damn it, man. You couldn't have made that a little bit shorter. In 2012, a high ranking military, also childhood friend from Tres Caracas City, after talks with another commander, gave him permission to watch a 35-second video of the Varginha being. So, at a secret spot, the military brought him a notebook which shows the Varginha creature live. The description of the creature was the same as that given by the girls: thin arms, a chest like a 7-year-old, with a disproportionately large head, containing immense red eyes that protruded from the eye sockets. They tried to get the creature to its feet. It staggered and fell. Then it was brought to its feet again. In the footage, they try to give it fruits and vegetables: apples, bananas, lettuce, cabbage. None were accepted by the being, which obviously didn't eat the garbage that they were trying to give it,
Hmm.
which also did not accept water. Very interesting. Um, that part I find intriguing, actually, because you'd think that this thing would, if it was out in the sun and the sun was affecting it. So does this mean that they don't require food and water? Pop Tart?
Possible. It's possible. We know now about they have something like a mana machine to where they get all their nutrients from just a device that's
Right.
obviously ran on free energy like all their devices. And it just creates some sort of algae, or it could create whatever
Yeah,
I guess
but
they
that
want.
sustains them enough where they're
I would
walking
assume.
through.
I would assume they can survive off of it forever. They know that they're going on a mission. They would be, nutritionally supplied and stocked up, so to speak. They wouldn't
Okay.
go. They wouldn't come here flying their ship if they were hungry.
The room
At least
appeared
they shouldn't.
the room appeared to be the office of some military installation and not a medical sector. Probably at the ESA, which is the base that they brought the being to in the documentary. At all times, the military mentioned the bad odor. Now, in our review of Moment of Contact, we brought a big focus on the mention of the same ammonia and sulfur. Um, Jesus Christ. Um, the same ammonia and sulfur smell that every witness corroborated with each other, like without knowing. It was amazing. This is the most credible story I've ever heard. And hurry to finish filming. After 35 seconds of video, a soldier says, "End it. It's time." God, that sounds ominous. According to Paccaccini, genetic analysis showed ancestry with human DNA. Guys,
That's a
who
bombshell.
who else said that? Mr. Richard fucking Doty. And this is why it's being covered up most likely. The Varginha case has so many correlations with Roswell and other UFO incidents around the United States. It is unfucking canny. The amount of things that we are getting from Varginha that correlate with things that we've heard in detail before, down to the metal, how it expanded and contracted, the smell, the telepathic communication, most likely. The it just the grand cover up of some connection to DNA and what junk DNA we think is nothing as of right now. That apparently we share a certain genome with these alien beings, and is most likely the key to life on life as we see it right now with us, and how we're completely separate from everything else on this planet. According to Paccaccini, Ancestry Human DNA, all captured creatures were sent to the USA. According to him, photos and videos of the creature taken at regional and Humanitas hospitals will be released soon. This is bombshell.
Disclosure might come from a different country, bro. I mean, it would make sense. They don't have as big of a government controlling the stories.
Do you think if videos came out, legitimate videos, people would say that they're fake just to like not deal with it?
Of course, that's like with anything, bro. With anything, they're always gonna say,
Mick West would be like, that's actually a pig.
yeah,
What?
the- you know how people are, especially the UFO community, bro. I mean, they're the first ones to fucking deny a real sighting or real video.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy that and put that in my notes. That testimony.
But it's
'Cause-
not about what others believe. It's what about we believe. What about you believe? You know what I'm saying? What about as individuals we believe? What
right,
we know to be true. You know,
right.
belief is one thing, knowledge is another. And this subject is not a belief for me. It's not something I just have faith in. I've seen multiple times with my own eyeballs, so I don't have to guess and speculate. You know, and
Yeah,
that's
I don't
that
think
makes my
guessing.
job easier. It does make it easier for sure, bro. But I want the rest of the world to experience that also. I don't want to be the only person with this secret or something. Like I could not have held this secret if I was you know someone back then. I would
So,
have.
well, this guy, after 26 years, he broke his silence. 26 years, he dropped from the face of the community. He was a prominent ufologist in Brazil,
Oh,
because we know Brazil's a hot
okay.
spot, and
Yeah.
he literally went dark for 26 years
Wow.
because
That
he was
makes
shaken.
that makes it more
That
interesting too.
that goes to tell you the gravity of this. Just the absolute gravity and what it does to people. It And that's why we have to be careful with disclosure. People need to remain calm. Have that talk at the dinner table. Talk to each other. Join internet communities. Come watch the podcast. We'll tell you there's nothing to be worried about right now. We're still having these conversations. And if they wanted to, it'd be over like that. You wouldn't even know it hit you. So we can't live in fear. We need to live in a society that's willing to adapt, change, and overcome. Not one that wants to stick around in the past and live the glory days over and over. Because it's not sustainable at this point. We're at an hour and 40 minutes, guys. That is going to be it for tonight. What are your final thoughts of the night?
Final thoughts. I hope this video does come out. It would be definitely smoking gun. I think. Just like many cases and instances will be that we're gonna get this eventually, guys. We have to be patient. The UFO subject, although it's been around since before humans, to most of us like me, who just found out when the government announced it, that's when I started my research. I'm sure that's when a lot of people started their research, and even more are starting now. Like NASA's just now starting Monday. So once they come to these conclusions and they find more evidence along the way, it's gonna come out, and we're gonna have that conversation very soon. I mean, if you're looking for one specific thing, especially now that we have AI that can literally search for UFOs, you type in on these computers they have specifically that you search for UFOs, and I don't know exactly how they work, but I know that they exist. So we're gonna, and with the telescopes, all these technologies that we have now that we know what we're looking for, just like with the radar operator, he had for his radar he had to have the radar on. There's like blind spots basically. So if you're not looking for something, you don't know it's there. Just imagine what else is there that we don't know just because we're not looking. What's the next discovery going to be after UFOs? What's the next thing that's there that we don't see that's right in front of our eyes? Is it other dimensions, entire cities right in front of our eyes? Just because UFOs come in and out of our dimension frequently, what more is that? There could be entire cities and stuff, other dimensions right here, and that might be what we'll be able to see next. And once we open our third eye, so to speak, and evolve, we'll be able to see more of these dimensions even on our own planet. It's possible.
Yeah. This is actually a good point. The ammonia and sulfur would smell like hell. Sulfur is often associated with demonic. Demons leave if a demon is around, and it's there, you'll smell sulfur. So that coupled with Brazilians' beliefs in the spiritual world, like when they saw this thing, they most likely thought it was the devil. And then they fucking bolted. Not to mention it had red eyes and like brown green skin. They were like, what the fuck? Oh my God, what the fuck is that thing? And they took off. They were little girls,
Yeah.
But but Dr. Bob Humphrey asks, why does this Varginha case have any credibility? All I will say is go watch Moment of Contact, or I will put the link for my review I write for the GWW, and I did a review for Moment of Contact, a written review. I will link it in the chat right now, and I highly suggest reading it and then watching the movie because it's amazing. James does such a good job not being over the top, flashy, scary alien cutscenes. None of that. He takes his documentaries very seriously, and they're very, very engaging. And the witness testimony in this one is unbelievable. Unbelievable. The credibility and the pure corroboration of each individual story it's just uncanny.
I want to say one thing that is different about this specific case it's not a typical CE3 event because of it being a crash. That's it's still beings involved, living beings. So it is still considered CE3, but it's not at their own initiation, right? It's an accidental crash. So those beings were seen accidentally. Imagine, even before that, in the 100 years ago, of course, if a human sees something like that, they're going to assume it's a demon. And so, a lot of the Bible and a lot of stories in general have most likely been mistaken that were ET, interdimensional ET, mistaken for angels, mistaken for demons, etc., mistaken for ghosts. We don't know, but the fact is that we have to we have to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially in cases like this where there's such an overwhelming amount of evidence. It's something that it would overwhelm anybody even today to see what those people saw. So it doesn't matter, especially now that even now that I'm in UFOs and I do open contact. If an ET just comes and knocks on your door, you're gonna be freaked the fuck out. If we've never seen them literally face to face, completely 3D, right? Even though Greer has many pictures, has a few pictures at least of ETs, they're usually halfway in our dimension and halfway in theirs. So it's never a full up close, and even still, you're looking at a picture. So seeing one, especially alive, with your own eyeballs,
Yeah,
would
that would
would be
be nerve
overwhelming for
wracking.
anybody.
Nerve wracking.
Yeah,
You'd
I
be
want to.
you'd be
I
overwhelmed
would love
with
it.
euphoria.
Yeah, I would love it. That's my number one goal is what I want to see and do in my lifetime and right now. But yeah, even for me asking for that and wanting it could still be overwhelming, and that's why my theory is that 99% of the time UFOs are usually going to be an orb, especially doing CE5. They're going to be an orb because it's not as overwhelming as seeing an alien fucking spaceship in physical 3D. So it's less overwhelming to see the orbs, and it's still completely mind blowing and beautiful.
Yeah. That's a good way to end it, man. Where can they find you on the socials?
Find me on Kanye's new app Parlor. You can find me on. I'm about to download Rumble, which is I think 6ix9ine's new app, and you can always find me on Instagram __ Pop Tart.
All right, guys.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, thank you for tuning in tonight. It has been a pleasure as always, and again, I just can't thank you enough. We are getting there, guys. The audio platform is the audio platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, are blowing up. Our numbers on YouTube are fluctuating here and there, but we're doing overall. I'm very, very happy with the direction that everything is going. The guests that we're getting are higher caliber. We're having more in-depth conversations. It's not just your normal stuff. I'm having such a blast. For once in my life, um, I feel just happy and like we're doing something that matters. I thank all of you for showing up, and for becoming fans of the show, and hopefully we get to see you every single time that we come on this platform, because we do it for you and we do it for the culture. And that was our movie podcast saying. I don't know about my UFO one. I'm gonna have to make one up, I guess. But thank you guys. Support the channel. Join the membership. We'll give you a gift per year. You get discounts on the store, early access to podcasts with guests, all that kind of cool stuff. So, or send a super chat while we're live. All goes back into production. Remember, a word from our sponsors. Sign up for TubeBuddy if you're a content creator. It's such a good, helpful tool. As well, our newest sponsor, Movie Palette. Get your favorite movie condensed into a color palette that represents the film. I have my Captain America, the Winter Soldier one right here for display. Use code Culture Corner 15 for 15% off your total order. Bring that room together, and your partner will not cringe when she brings guests over and they don't know that it's a nerdy picture. It's the best of both worlds, guys. Trust me. Trust me. Also, guys, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Search the show, follow, rate, and review. All that shit helps the algorithm, and we really do appreciate it, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time with Lorraine Fenn.